Welcome to KOT Aero, knowledge on tap for the aerospace community. Subscribe for free at kotaero.com. All right, let's dive into it.
All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we're going deep on something you probably don't think about much when you're flying.
Yeah.
Emergency evacuation procedures, just in case things go wrong. We're talking about FR 25.803,
All right.
the regulation that makes sure you can get off a big plane fast and safely if there's an emergency.
It's one of those things you hope you never, ever need.
Oh, absolutely.
But when you need it, you really need it.
You need it to work, right?
That'll work perfectly.
So we've got the actual text of 25.803 right here.
Okay.
And then this super detailed Appendix J
Oh, yeah?
that lays out all the crazy tests the FAA uses. Plus, we found this document from the Federal Register talking about changes they made to those tests back in 2004 to, well, keep people safer during the tests themselves.
Fascinating stuff. Gives you a real look into how much goes into aviation safety behind the scenes.
Okay, so 25.803 itself.
Yeah.
Seems pretty simple at first glance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Planes need enough emergency exits.
Makes sense.
And they have to prove those exits work. But what exactly is a transport category airplane? Does that cover everything?
Good point. So that term, it refers to planes designed to carry a certain number of passengers or cargo. Your typical commercial airliner, that's what we're talking about.
Okay, so not my buddy's little Cessna he flies around in.
Exactly. We're talking the big jets, lots of people on board. That's where a fast, organized evacuation is even more important.
Right. So the regulation says these exits, they have to be proven effective. That's where this Appendix J comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this thing is, wow, intense.
It is.
And lays out all these specific things you got to do to show the exits actually work in a real emergency.
It's not just about the doors either. It's the whole process.
Oh, yeah.
Cabin layout, lighting, the signs, even how the crew tells passengers what to do.
It's a whole system.
Exactly. It has to work under pressure.
Speaking of pressure, Appendix J says you have to get everyone off in 90 seconds max.
90 seconds.
That's barely enough time to make a coffee, let alone empty a whole plane.
90 seconds might not seem like a lot, but there's a reason for that number.
I bet.
It's based on years of research looking at real incidents. Even shaving off a few seconds can make a huge difference in survival.
So, are there examples of that where it really mattered?
Oh, yeah. Back in the 90s, there was a plane had to make an emergency landing, caught fire on the ground.
Oh, wow.
But because the exits were well designed and they evacuated quickly, everyone got out in under 80 seconds. Everyone survived.
That's amazing. Okay, so how do they test this stuff? Do they, fake a whole emergency with people on board?
Kinda. They use a real airplane, but instead of a full flight, they get volunteers.
Really? So you sign up to be crash test dummy?
Well, not exactly. It's controlled. There are rules. They collect data. It's not just chaos.
So, these volunteers, they just get on this plane, someone yells, evacuate, and they got to run.
Pretty much. But there's a lot more to it than that.
What kind of rules? I'm curious.
Well, for one, they don't tell you which exits you'll be using.
Oh, that's smart.
They want to see how people react when they don't know where to go. Makes it more realistic.
And they don't let the flight attendants, help out, do they?
Nope. Crew can't assist at all. It's about how passengers do on their own.
Makes sense. So you're not relying on someone to tell you what to do.
Exactly. You're on your own. Got to make it as close to the real thing as you can.
Right. But still keep it safe, which, okay, check this out. Appendix J says they use, get this, dolls to simulate babies.
The dolls.
Life-sized baby dolls. What's the deal with that?
It seems funny, but they represent a real challenge. Evacuating with the baby, it takes longer, you need coordination. The dolls help simulate that.
Oh, so it's not just playing house, it's actually trying to mimic how hard it is for a parent.
Exactly. They're trying to get as close to real life as possible with these tests.
Okay, that makes way more sense. And it's not just babies, right?
Yeah.
Appendix J, it talks about the age and gender of all the volunteers.
Right. They can't just have a bunch of 20-year-olds doing this.
So why is that so important?
Well, think about it. You get on a plane, there's all sorts of people, right? Different ages, fitness level.
Oh, grandma might not move as fast as a teenager.
Exactly. And they need to reflect that in the test. Older folks might take longer. That has to be part of the data.
So they're trying to see how a real evacuation would go with all kinds of people.
They want a complete picture, make sure the procedures work for everyone.
So they're making it realistic, but they also changed some stuff in 2004 to make it safer for the people doing it.
Yeah.
We got this document here from, what is this called? The Federal Register?
The Federal Register.
What even is that?
Basically, it's where the government publishes like official rules and changes and stuff, like a daily journal, but for laws.
Ah, got it. So like when the FAA wants to tweak how they do these tests.
They announce it in the Federal Register so everyone knows.
So what did they change to make these evacuations safer? What'd they do?
One big one was adding some lighting outside the plane during the test.
Wait, wouldn't a real evacuation at night be dark?
You'd think so, but think of it from the people running the test.
Oh, okay.
They got to see what's going on, make sure no one gets hurt, document everything. Can't do that in pitch black.
Makes sense. It's not about making it easier, it's making it safe for the volunteers and the observers.
Right, it's a controlled environment.
And I see here they also started inflating the escape slides before the test starts.
Ah, yes. That was important.
I bet. Seems like a big difference. Like you wouldn't want to slide down and it's not fully ready.
There were incidents, people falling, getting hurt. Inflating beforehand, it eliminates that risk.
Ouch. Good call. That's a smart change.
Safety first, always.
What else? Anything else they changed back then?
They started allowing for a little safety briefing beforehand.
Oh, like telling people what to expect.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But it's limited. They can only talk about the test site itself.
So like don't trip on that crack in the concrete kind of stuff.
Exactly. No hints about the plane or where the exits are. That's still a secret.
Right. They got to keep it realistic. It's all about that balance.
Exactly.
Which is really interesting. These changes back in '04, it shows how the FAA, they're always trying to improve things.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just like doing the bare minimum, but actually thinking, okay, how can we make this better?
They're always looking for ways to make the tests more accurate, get better data, but without putting people at risk.
It's cool to see that level of like commitment, you know? They really care about getting this right.
It all comes back to that core mission, passenger safety. It drives everything they do.
And it makes you realize when you get on a plane, there's so much more happening behind the scenes than we realize.
Oh, for sure. It's a whole hidden world of engineering and testing.
Making sure that if something goes wrong, you've got the best possible chance of getting out of there. Okay.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And the research doesn't stop there. In fact, they're looking into even more advanced ways to test evacuations.
Really? Like, what else could they do? I mean, they've already got the dolls, the lighting, the whole 9 yards.
Well, now they're getting into some really futuristic stuff. Virtual reality, for example.
No way. Like, put on those headsets and pretending you're in a crash.
Kind of,
Yeah.
but it's more than just pretending. It's a way to simulate all sorts of different scenarios.
Oh, that's smart.
Different plane layouts, different types of emergencies, even different passenger demographics.
And no one gets hurt doing it?
Exactly. It's safe, and you can run the simulations over and over again, tweak the variables, see what works best.
So it's like a giant evacuation video game, but for science.
In a way, yes. And it's not just virtual reality. They're also using advanced computer models.
Computer models. Wow.
Yeah, algorithms that can analyze passenger flow, predict how long it'll take to evacuate, even identify bottlenecks and problem areas.
Wow, that's like next level stuff.
It is. And it's all based on a deep understanding of how people behave in emergencies.
Which is probably the hardest part, right?
Yeah.
People don't always act rationally when they're panicked.
Exactly. You can't predict everything, but
Yeah.
the more we understand about human behavior, the better we can prepare.
So with all this fancy technology, what does it mean for us, the average passenger? What's the takeaway here?
I think the biggest thing is when you get on that plane, you're stepping into a system that's been designed with safety in mind. From the moment you board to the moment you deplane, every detail has been carefully thought through.
And it's not just about the plane itself. It's about the training of the crew, the procedures they follow, the emergency exits, everything.
It's a whole ecosystem of safety.
And the FAA, they're not just sitting back, they're constantly pushing the boundaries, making things even safer.
So next time you're flying, take a moment to appreciate all the work that goes into making that flight safe. It's a testament to human ingenuity and our commitment to protecting lives.
Yeah, it really makes you think. We put so much trust in this system, and it's good to know that trust is well placed.
It's kind of wild, right? We just get on these metal tubes and assume everything's gonna be fine.
I know, right?
But there's so much going on behind the scenes.
So much to keep us safe. Okay, so what's next for evacuations? What crazy stuff are they going to come up with?
Well, some of the things they're researching, inflatable ramps that pop out of the bottom of the plane, or even, get this, escape pods that detach from the fuselage.
Escape pods? You're kidding. That's like straight out of Star Wars.
It sounds crazy, but they got to explore every option, right? Find the safest way to get people out no matter what.
I guess so. Though I kind of hope we never actually need any of that stuff.
Me too. But if we do, at least we know they're working on it.
This has been, wow, really eye-opening. Never thought I'd be so interested in emergency exits.
It's fascinating stuff.
Makes you realize every time you fly, there's a whole team of people who've thought about how to get you out of that plane if something goes wrong.
And they're constantly working to make those procedures even better.
So next time you're on a flight, take a second, look around, think about all the work that went into making sure you're safe.
From the exits, to the crew, to the regulations, it's all connected.
Until next time, everyone, fly safe.
Safe travels